Oh, hey, good morning, folks. Paul with you. Good morning. It is a good one here in sunny South Florida. It is perfect temperatures right now, soon to be very hot. But I'm going to walk a bit around and just have a little chat with my subs here. I kind of chatted with one of them, and he said Trump is a madman. Well, we'll see. You know, I'm kind of in agreement with him, but I'm not going to be so quick to jump. First of all, he chided me because I called the presidential candidate that Trump beat, which I was surprised to see happen too, because I thought everybody was so dumbed down and learning what to do by doing the poke. And adhering to all of the protocols of this draconian garbage that they put out for us, that I figured that they were incapable of doing anything except what they saw on their television. Kamala Harris. So I called her hyena because she was always laughing about something. You know, she was always laughing. It kind of didn't matter what it was. She was always laughing. So the problem, Rudy, is that if we had hyena in here right now, we would be that much closer to a complete takeover of the Spanish language over the United States. I'm sorry to tell you that, and I'm sure you don't care because you probably know how to speak Spanish, or you have some sort of vested interest in it. I don't. I want to keep English strong here and the only language. None of these other languages, I don't care, but it's particularly Spanish because it's such a threat because of the tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, of Spaniards that are coming into our country who refuse to assimilate into the culture, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. So, yes, we wouldn't have this right now, but we would have more of the creeping Latino menace into this country right now, and you could be sure of that. Now, let's talk in realistic terms with Trump. It all depends on how you feel about Israel, okay? Israel obviously was the crux of this attack. It was their information which led Trump to bomb once again these Iranian facilities. And folks, make no mistake about this. Israel has the best information in the world in the Middle East. You can bet your undershorts, if you wear them, that they knew what they were talking about. They got the Khomeini and all of his guards and everything else, all that royal attachment. They're all gone. You know why? Because Israel knows exactly what's going on. I don't like Israel, to be fair. But they are very, very worried about Iran, who, let's face it, I'm telling you the truth, they've already multiple times have said to everyone that they would eliminate Israel. I don't like to say that because I'm not crazy about Israel. I don't like what they're doing to the Palestinians, for one. You understand? But Israel know what the hell they're doing. So they were able to take out that fucking egghead, that fucking 7th century fucking retard, Khomeini, and the rest of his fucking retards. And now they're calling for the people to take over Iran. Well, if you keep following that evil religion, you're going to just find it over and over again. As you go further and move deeper into AD, religions are going to start going the way of the pet rock. I'm sorry to tell you that, but everybody knows what I speak of. And when you have barbaric, ignorant religions, they're going to go the way of the pet rock. Particularly if they deal with a lot of violence. So that's that over there. You can make of it what you will. Maybe you agree or maybe you disagree. Now, it's a little update for you. I called my wife over in the Philippines, and she said that things are heating up. She's saying something about Palawan, which is the westernmost Filipino island, which is really beautiful and very touristy, but not terribly developed, is what I understand, as a whole. And she is making, my wife doesn't really know what she's talking about. She can't really understand the English, the complex English. But she's saying that there's some sort of a worry about Palawan. And I couldn't agree more. Palawan is the westernmost island on the Philippines. It's down lower than Luzon, which is Manila. And they're worried about it because China could get to it. And if China starts occupying part of the Philippines, look out. In fact, look out now. I told my wife, I said, you better get ready on seeing a lot of Americans over in Olongapo, which is Subic Bay. And there was a naval base there, but you know the Americans, they can't keep it in their pants. So with enough, I'm not going to say the R word, but with enough pressure on the women there and the bar girls and this and that and all the rest of it, they got the Americans the hell out of there. So now they're going to see a lot more. Why? Because it's so dangerous with China and what's going to happen now. And my wife is worried now because they don't know if they're going to be able to get gasoline. That's what it's coming to now. They think that China is going to starve the Philippines out of fuel. It's very possible. Who knows? So I had warned my son, but my son is busy playing 3DO. You understand? He's almost 19 years old, and like the rest of you fucking shit-mouthed, stupid fucking idiots, it's Nintendo, 3PO, all the rest of the garbage. But I got news for you little shit-mouths. Do you know what a draft means? Do you know what that means? You better hope that China doesn't deliver the hypersonic aircraft carrier missile destroyers. And you better hope that we don't see 2,500 or 3,800 bodies in the water because they have a successful attack on one of those aircraft carriers that are there right now parked off of Iran. Because if we lose one, particularly the Gerald Ford, that's the biggest in the world. It's not rubber band powered like the Chinese aircraft carriers. At least the Americans understand physics. The Russians don't. Neither do the Chinese. Aircraft carriers are designed to be like that. Exactly like that. Not like a bow like that. Not going down and going up. That's not the way they're designed. That's not the way you do it. Why? Because it's too complicated to explain to you. But when you take off from one of these type of aircraft carriers, you can't take full load of bombs. Because when you come up at this point right here, it makes centrifugal forces on the airplane's load. And you can't do it. Now, it might be better when they're empty. Maybe. I'm not even sure about that. But you can't have rubber band propulsion like the Chinese have right now. That's not going to work. So forget about the Chinese. The Chinese are as far behind militarily as you can imagine. Their hypersonic missiles may not even work. But if they do go for an aircraft carrier, and if they get one, you little Nintendo players better get ready to experience the real thing. You understand? In other words, you're going to sleep 8 hours at a time, and you're going to share the bed with 2 other navalmen, because that's the way it works. You only need the bed for 8 hours a day. You only need that room for 8 hours a day. And that means 3 people will sleep there in one night by shifts. Little shitmouths, you don't understand one thing from another. But you're about to if things get real bad. There will be a draft just as sure as I'm standing here walking. Just as sure as I'm standing here walking. If one of those aircraft carriers are even targeted because I'm not sure that any hypersonic missile can breach an aircraft carrier. I'm not sure. First of all, they have defense systems for that. Second of all, I know for a fact what aircraft carriers do. And if China tries to send an aircraft carrier missile carrier killer, I'm not sure if it will work, because these aircraft carriers can shoot. I forget how tall it is. I think it's about maybe 500 or 600, 700 feet in the air. You can't even see the aircraft carrier. They shoot water, enormous amounts of water, up in the air so high you can't even see the aircraft carrier. So it may not be able to hit the aircraft carrier even though they're hypersonic, assuming that they work and go on target. So we'll see. But I don't have any respect for the Chinese rubber band powered aircraft carriers. I'm sorry. That's just me. You may think differently. The Chinese are excellent strategists. They did the perfect thing in Korea when we tried to clean up North Korea. When we tried to clean it up, those, including a lot of Puerto Ricans, by the way, I want to make sure people understand that. Puerto Ricans are Americans, whether you like it or you don't like it. And they sacrificed hand and foot for the American cause. They went to Chosin, which was a giant water body in North Korea, and they tried to clean that shit out. Wound up getting attacked by what they said was 500,000 Chinese, reinforcing North Korea because they're the same people, especially at that time. And the Chinese, being geniuses like they are in some ways, strategically, they did the perfect thing. They didn't bring rifles. It's well known what they did. They bought burp guns. They were cheap, economical. They had a ton of them, and they were easy to produce. And a burp gun is essentially a 1 or 2 shot wonder. It bloops out a bomb, and it wreaks massive destruction for its size. That's a burp gun. They used them all over Vietnam, too. They were effective. I believe they were using them in World War II, but they had a bazooka gun at that time. I'm not sure they had the bloop guns. They might have. I'm not an expert on that. So the Chinese threw 500,000 Chinese at our boys, many of them Puerto Rican. And the Puerto Ricans did not go into American divisions. They had their own divisions, that they spoke their own native tongue. And a lot of them came back without feet and toes, blinded, because of this unbelievable weather that they were dealing with over there in Chosin. Marines, I believe that was the Marines. I wouldn't want to be there. So China does the best they can with what they have. So we're going to have to see. Could be Russia, too. Russia could provide the missiles. I don't know. I would even doubt their missiles, because I'm not sure they have enough money to be able to reasonably make weapons that are of such a high grade. I worked in a store with them. I can tell you how they are. I have no love for them. Just letting you know. I don't care about either one of them. The Ukrainians or the Russians, particularly the Russians. Although the Ukrainians were tough to get along with too, for me personally. So I have no more information for you other than the United Arab Emirates is now getting a small taste of the missiles, of the repercussions of Iran, because Iran is shooting at all these Arab countries that they believe are complicit with the United States. Hence, you got the United Arab Emirates, and they've got a bombing now of a hotel, and it's on fire And I guess they probably put it out by now. God only knows what the death toll is there. And they're starting to go after the hot spots, the tourist hot spots. My wife called me this morning and said something is going on over there, and they're expecting a doubling of the price of oil. Because, folks, if they hit the Straits of Hormuz, and that's what I would do if I was Iran, I would knock out the oil production in the Straits of Hormuz, shut it down, and you've lost, I think it's 35% of the oil. So 35% is serious. And you've already got Venezuela in all sorts of problems over there, because they're another big oil producer. So we're going to see what happens here. But folks, it would not surprise me at all to see the biggest move that silver has ever made come Monday, or maybe even Tuesday, because the Chinese markets are closed on Monday. If you ever wanted to buy silver, now is the time. Do it before it goes up, because I don't think you're going to get another chance this time for real. Once oil goes up, folks, you can say goodbye to $100 silver. It's not going to be there anymore. It's going to be much, much higher. And it wouldn't surprise me to see, for the first time, a $10 rise in silver by Tuesday. Also, it would not surprise me to see the first $300+ move, $400 move in gold in one day by Tuesday, because the situations are starting to merit it. Anyways, that's just my prediction. I might be wrong. I'm estimating that the Dow will go down between 11 and 13% in one day on Monday. Tuesday may be a ditto. It depends if it gets worse and worse. Right now, I looked at the news this morning on Drudge, and it said, and there's really nothing to see there, so I'm not taking you to it. I'm not going to waste your time. A tremendous amount of people who have put down money to buy homes are backing out, even if they've lost their $3,500 retainer or whatever it is. You know why? Because when I go walking every morning, I told you this 3 years ago, 2.75 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I said, you see how many people, see how many of these houses are repossessions? Yeah, they're fixing them up. Well, now the people that have fixed up those repossessions, they can't sell their houses. And now there's more repossessions. And they're all over, folks. It's worse. The worst that I ever remember it was probably 2008. But before that, it was bad in 1993. When Clinton, what did he take office in 88 or whatever it was? I forgot now. But in 93, it was bad. My ex-girlfriend, a Chinese woman, she bought a house for $49,000. It was a repo, but it wasn't brand new, of course. But I just remember that she paid $49,900, and it had no bathroom. So the bathroom was there, but it had nothing there, and they gave her a $50 toilet bowl. That's it. And then she fixed it for several $100s. And then paid the corrupt state of Florida for the roof inspection, and 4 months after she got the house, the roof was not good anymore. So it's all fun and games. You know how the game works. And who knows what's coming, but you better batten down the hatches. And it's going to get very expensive for me, because it looks like I'm going to have to stockpile gas in the Philippines and kind of wait it out, because I have a feeling things are going to get very ugly, and hyperinflation is going to hit everywhere, including the United States. So if you have money, do what you can to prepare, because I think this is going to get bad. Cigarette prices in the Philippines are just skying. Every week or two, the prices are going up again and again and again. The cigarettes are almost as much there as they are here, literally. And they don't make $12 an hour U.S. like here. Anyways, folks, I'll let you go. I'll be back for another soapbox. Maybe I'll do it today, maybe I won't. We'll see. Come here, because if you come here, you're going to hear what you need to hear. I know you don't like me. I know you don't like me calling you shitmouths and stupid fucking retards and poke acceptors and all this fucking nonsense. You should, because you're going to stay up to date. Take care, and I will see you either later or tomorrow. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.